I want to talk about something that happened this weekend. I don't know why it is. I would be surprised that competitive people, competition-aholics, as they age, would go to every length and measure, including possible cheating, in order to get advantages. I don't know if you saw that Paul George made 9 threes. The game, Paul George has been pretty bad for them over the course of this season. They need Maxey and Embiid to do just about everything, and Paul George hasn't given them very much, but he did have one game where he had 9 threes, and then they immediately tested him for it. And then he got in a league that is really, really soft on drug suspensions. Nobody in the NBA used to get drug suspensions back when marijuana was banned and everyone knew that everyone in the league was smoking marijuana. Kevin Durant smokes so much that he might as well smoke while he's playing. Just run up and down the court smoking while he plays, because he's not bashful about that in any way. But nobody gets gonged in that sport because their drug testing system is so useless. But this weekend, Dylan Brooks was making fun of Paul George about this. He's like, talk about that on your podcast. I don't think anybody believes any excuses. I don't believe there is any way that a league, especially this league, because it suspends people so infrequently, suspends anybody, and the explanation, no matter what it is, I don't believe there is a single explanation, even if it's an honest mistake, that anyone will believe. I think that this explanation, that I'm taking mental health medicine and I didn't know what I was putting in my body, is as not believable as if he said, I got suspended for 25 games because I drank bleach out of one of my mom's shampoo bottles. But it's a great move by Paul George, because I haven't heard that one used before to garner sympathy. Is there a way for anyone who gets suspended 25 games by that league for it to be an honest mistake? And you would believe that really it's an honest mistake?
It's really difficult, Dan, especially with as progressive a league as the NBA is, as it pertains to mental health. Pretty much everything is allowed. There are some stimulants that are against the rules. However, they even give waivers provided you present the proper prescription and you just run it by the league. It's really, really difficult to get pinched for something like this in that league.
Yeah, there's one of two things happen here to Paul George and anyone who winds up getting, pinched for any of these banned substances. Either you tried to cheat and you got caught, all right, or you are incredibly foolish. And the incredibly foolish part is all you have to do is you take the bottle of the thing that you want to take and you go up to your trainer and you say, can I take this? And then he says yes or no. It's that simple.
It's just like that. It's just like that. And also, we're talking about a player that has struggled to stay on the court, that at his age, you can understand if he were to turn to something to get back on the court and have an extended run and show that he's worth the money. I mean, it doesn't go beyond the scope of imagination here.
Let's look into the past and see how many players have been popped for something outside of PEDs. So the last 25 game bans, Jody Meeks in 18 for PEDs. Wilson Chandler, PEDs, 25 games. John Collins, 25 games for PEDs, a peptide. DeAndre Ayton tested positive for a diuretic. Some say it was PEDs and they were trying to wash it through. Yeah. Bobby Portis, 25 games for a pain medicine. And then Paul George with this very...
I also got Tristan Thompson here a couple
Tristan
years
Thompson
ago.
too, but ambiguously, mental health medicine, whatever that may be.
So he didn't name the medicine, and I haven't seen this move used before by anybody. It may have been used, but one of the things that I found interesting about it, never mind the optics or the PR about it, what an amazing shift in that league and the way that league armors up on masculinity for Paul George to say openly, I'm not a cheater, I just need help with mental frailty. I need help with mental illness. What a seismic change in how it is men present as men in that league, that the second one is no longer a stigma, at least in part because of what DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love did. This stuff was never talked about before, where I'm sure he garners at least some sympathy in some corners. I don't think everyone is saying what we are. There's nothing you can say that I will believe if the NBA gets you gone for 25 games. I think many people are saying, well, maybe, even though it seems fundamentally implausible because of what Zaz is saying. And the reason it seems fundamentally implausible is Paul George just cost himself $12 million. You've got, like, when the risk is that high, what Zaz is saying is, so you take your medication to your team doctors and you say, is this okay for me to use? And that's how you ingest things. But it's really a seismic shift in everything happening in that league that Paul George is willing to do the double of, no, I'm not cheating, I have that shame, but I'm going to tell all my fellow players in this league something that 10 years ago, none of these guys would have admitted to, because nobody in that league wants to admit that they need help.
And I ate it all up. Yeah, Paul, you were looking for a mark. I'm your mark. I'm an empath.
I did not believe him, though. And
were you thinking of me when you came up with this excuse? You probably were. And I took the bait. Hook, line, and sinker.
I believe Jeremy took the bait. I believe that I have been scarred by Ryan Braun.
I think I still believe him.
I kind of do.
I've been scarred by Ryan Braun the way that Derrick Rose has been scarred by the Dwayne Wade statue. Ryan Braun, I did believe, because I'm like, well, he wouldn't do it that forcefully. He wouldn't stand on a field and deny it that forcefully unless nobody would lie that aggressively.
Who would lie?
No, but that aggressively. Lying is one thing. Lying with defiance and arrogance and scolding reporters and doing it calmly and confidently. Lying that well, I fell for Ryan Braun, but it's the last time I fell like that.
They won't get you again,
No,
Dano.
now I don't.
Except for maybe this time.
No, not me.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, come on.
No.
He stole. He did that kissy face thing, and we kind of felt bad about it. Come on, let's believe him. No games. Unsuspend him. Justice for PG.
Unsuspend him. I believe Jeremy might have had a soft spot for everything Paul George was saying. I did not. I immediately thought it was public relations bullshit.
Yeah, I might be naive, but I don't know. I think if you're someone taking drugs for your mental health and you make a tweak to those because something else is going on with your mental health, you might just make that tweak before necessarily consulting with someone within your system, or maybe even did. Like, look, I could be totally misled here, and maybe as someone who takes mental health drugs myself, I'm just looking at it with a level of empathy that is too deep, because it's something that I would be really embarrassed about or upset about if it affected my ability to do my job. It's the reason I take those drugs, is so that I can get out here and perform and do my job and be stable. Maybe if he's someone on maybe he needs to take Xanax to be able to fall asleep. Maybe it's one of those types of drugs, but I don't know. I think this is something where I'm going to take the guy at his word, and if I'm proven wrong, like if this all ends up being a farce, then I could be even more upset and look at him in a light that is like really frustrated with the manipulation of our empathy.
Got another one. Yep. Hell yeah. Knew that snowflake would join me, and he was way stronger on the subject so people can mock him when the truth comes out. Hell yeah. What's up, Zaz?
What's up, player?
What's up, Trevor? You've ceased being me as that character. You're now doing you as you're just
No,
doing.
I'm in the dark recesses of your mind. We're good. No one can hear us, just you and me, big guy. We look good today.
Can you get me, since Jeremy's reporting is so good, Eric Reed complimenting Jeremy during the telecast yesterday?
Impressive investigating journalism for Jeremy Taché. That's a good story. Taché.
Wow,
Good stuff.
That was slightly sensuous by John Crotty there.
Taché.
Hey.
It was. Am I wrong?
Taché.
What was your story?
That. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. That feels. We'll get to the investigative report of Jeremy Taché in a second. That is dangerously close. I'm going to say this, and I don't do this flippantly. I feel like the way that John Crotty said that is very close to sexual harassment.
Taché.
I'd say.
Oh, I think he's saying
Taché.
Taché.
Oh,
not
Taché.
Taché.
But there's an undercurrent of I'd say.
Taché. Taché.
Yeah, now that I hear it, I don't like it.
What was the investigative report, Taché?
I took a deep dive into the Twitter account, Did Pella Get Hit, which is a Twitter account that is run for every time Pella Larson gets hit in the face. And of course, Dan, on Saturday night, with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, he was hit in the face again. So I had reached out to the young person who runs this account. They're a 21-year-old Heat fan who first got into Miami Heat basketball thanks to the Dwayne Wade dunk over Anderson Varejao. They saw that highlight and said, I got to get into this sport. They also said that they would sacrifice anything for the Miami Heat to win a championship, and that the reason they run the account is because Pella is exactly the type of player who exemplifies Heat culture. When I reached out to them for any further comments they might have, they said, please tell Pella to wear a mask.
Taché.
The question I want to ask you now that we're all, or most of us, are slightly numb to drug suspensions and cheaters is, has there ever been that you guys recall an honest mistake? Like, can any of you remember a situation where a guy is cheating and we have to go back and say, hey, I'm sorry, we got it all wrong? Like, where are the mistakes that you would have, or the excuses you would have, or the explanations that you would have that end up being verified so that the league would be wrong? Because one of the other things that's in play here, right? Paul George can say what he said because the NBA is contractually, legally obligated through collective bargaining to not say anything about it. It's a totally private issue. So he can say whatever he wants, and the league isn't going to counter that. The counter is, you're suspended, $12 million is what you end up losing. But can any of you remember a circumstance where the explainer or the excuser is actually being wronged? Is there any such thing as a false positive that any of you remember?
I remember Travis Henry appealed in the NFL, and he actually won the appeal. That's the only one I could ever think of.
That's a good one, because I didn't even remember that one. The cynicism around this feels to me like it's earned just because the league does this so rarely and has to be careful about doing it, because you're taking $12 million from somebody.
Whatever happened to the Al Jazeera report with Peyton Manning's wife getting stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, his neck was okay, they won a Super Bowl, and then it kind of, like, disappeared? Was he wrong there? Was he not wrong?
It was not reported as he was wronged. He was claiming that is HGH or testosterone that's being sent to my wife, allegedly, and then it just faded away.
The league apparently looked at DeAndre Ayton's and believed that there was no malicious intent there to bypass the rules. There was zero trace of any PED. But
because he had a diuretic in his system that flushed
but that's enforced in the law. The diuretic that he tested positive for is known to help flush systems out. But that's the last that I'm seeing on that.
You guys were surprised, were you not, by the Paul George thing? Like, the way that thing ends up happening, I think everyone has the same reaction, which is, I understand that we're used to these guys cheat. These guys try to cut every corner. Nobody is actually innocent. However, when a suspension arrives, it does so as a bombshell. Like, Paul George being suspended for 25 games suddenly takes over the sports news stream. But you're not surprised by it?
No. I guess Aaron Ekblad got pinched for this, and he was a player that I guess for his roster was considered older, even though he's actually not an old man, but had been struggling through injuries, big price tag, wanted to be there for his team, and then found some consistent form. And then we get the positive result, and you realize, oh, maybe that's how he found it. I look at Paul George, I say that guy's body is broken by a long career. He's trying to live up to a contract. It matches the profile is what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh,
now.
but I guess what I should have said, the way that I should have phrased it is, there's an initial surprise, and then what you do is you sort of go through the library of, oh, old player, just made 9 threes, has been struggling with a great many injuries. Like you go retroactively and you do the biography, but the initial news report to me landed like, whoa, I was surprised, but it had less to do with Paul George than it does with how infrequently that league does that.
But he's been in the league for a long time. He knows the rules. This isn't some rookie move.
Yep.
This is a guy that knows if you ever put anything into your body to
that's why
run
it's
it
BS.
by your training staff. So it might be the bullshit, Zaz.
It's the bullshit, Dan.
Thank you. Good analysis by all of us. It's the bullshit at Le Batard Show. Put it on the poll. Is that good analysis on the Paul George situation? It's the bullshit.